लाइट चालू करो आज. लाइट आज नीचे नीचे नीचे. ये बंद. अरे वो बंद ही है. We are doing the social capital. Robert Putnam, James Coleman. What is the concept of social capital? And उसके positives क्या है, उसके negatives क्या है? So negatives, I guess we have written all the negatives except one. We have not written the concept of social hierarchy. It creates a social hierarchy. लिखा हमने? Cartelization, and lastly it creates a social hierarchy. It creates a social hierarchy, thus allowing the power to be captured creates a social hierarchy, thus allowing the power to be captured by social elites. Power to be captured by elites. No need of writing social elites, by elites. Can you give me इसका example? That is the vote bank. एक superior caste एक vote bank बन जाता है. Fine. Or business community will decide everything. That is what is known as the elites. And then open your handout. On the concept, page number 26, social capital in developing countries as a whole. Social capital in developing countries as a whole. इसमें से जो ले सकते हो, fine? कि how is the social capital in developed nations, and it is in the developing nations. Obviously, the concept of social capital, trust, worthiness, etc. will be more जहाँ पे development है. I am not saying जहाँ पे wealth है, but जहाँ पे development है. And development, what are the measures of development? What are the different measures of development? Per capita income? Official measures बताओ मुझे of development. Human Development Index. उसके बाद इसमें आ जाएगा literacy. Index बताओ मुझे development के. Gender Inequality Index. Gender empowerment measure. Fine. Happiness index. It is a measure officially. And have you heard about this? PQLI, Physical Quality of Life Index. So these are some of the measures. Or I can say Human Development Index after inequality adjustment, or can I say multi-dimensional poverty index? And these are the different measures of the poverties or the development indices in the world. Now what do you mean by standard of living? क्योंकि ये हमारा नेक्स्ट टॉपिक है, उसके साथ साथ आई एम डूइंग दिस टॉपिक. व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग? व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग? व्हाट इज स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग? बेसिक एमिनिटीज. यू से कि स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग बहुत अच्छा है, बहुत गंदा है, बहुत बुरा है. व्हाट इज स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग देन? बेसिक एमिनिटीज. 2300 कैलोरीज ऑफ फूड, एक कपड़ा, फाइन, वन पीस ऑफ क्लोथ एंड वन हाउस. हो गया स्टैंडर्ड. दिस आर बेसिक एमिनिटीज फॉर लाइफ. व्हाट एल्स यू रिक्वायर? यू डोंट हैव टू हैव अ मोबाइल फोन, यू डोंट हैव टू हैव ब्रांडेड क्लोथ्स, फाइन, बट वी से इट इज अ स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग. उसका स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग बहुत हाई है. कॉमनली यूज टर्म है स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग. सो education, standard of amenities means to some extent you are little bit. basic amenities तो है, basic amenities नहीं. standard of amenities, luxurious life. And then what is quality of life then? क्या क्या आएगा इन क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ? What is quality of life? What is the quality of life? How is your quality of life? Very good or less? Very good or less? Why? That is not the quality of life. कार बंगलो तो बहुत लोगों के पास है. चलो, I'll end the discussion. Standard of living is the quantitative measure of growth. It is always measured in materialistic parameters. Material thing means which you can measure, capital. Quality of life is the qualitative measure of growth. Fine? Why I started with this topic? Because standard of living may be taught about human development index, but tell about the standard of living. Fine? But it does not tell about the quality of life. Per capita income may talk about the standard of living, but it may not talk about the quality of life. India ka per capita income has increased. Does it mean that the distribution of income has been proper? No. Per capita income, if it is increased, it can mean two things. That is the average wealth, everyone has become wealthy. That can also be true. Or only few people have become wealthy. That can also be true. So when the few people in the country like India, when the few people become wealthy, it obviously affects the quality of life as well as the standard of living. The standard of living remains same or becomes worse for the poor because inflation aata hai in the country. While the quality of life is, because of the inflation coming, because of the consumption goods becoming more and more costly, the quality of life surely deteriorates. And isliye people say that human development index is still not a good measure for the development. It is just a measurement index which focuses on growth in the terms of GDP and purchasing power parity. And the purchasing power parity is because it depends upon the per capita income, and per capita income hamesha misleading hota hai. Any average value is always misleading. Fine? So the human development index ke bahut alternatives dhoonde gaye. One was gender inequality index. It was not successful. One was gender empowerment measure, how much empowerment the women have, whether they have political representation, whether they have economic representation, whether they have the representation in the decision making. One was the happiness index, which was started in Bhutan, and over the period of time it has increased. And one jo hamare syllabus mein hai, it is quality of life index. Fine? Quality of life index. How is the quality of life? So how is the quality of life in India as compared to Switzerland? Q? Yes, India में even if you are earning the same kind of an income as the person in Switzerland in the terms of purchasing power parity, maybe you don't get access to so much of a good environment jitna there is in the Switzerland. You don't get access to so much good health in the terms of as you get in Switzerland. You don't get the best kind of an education, technologically improved education as we may say in that Switzerland. I am taking just an example of a Switzerland. Health के indicators है, polluted air है, crime है रास्ते पे, fine. मोबाइल छीन के भागते हैं अपने क्लास के नीचे से ही, राइट? कॉमन है अपने क्लास के, डोंट एवर गो आउट एंड टॉक ऑन द स्ट्रीट, इट इज वेरी कॉमन, द मोबाइल इज टेकन ऑन दिस मेन रोड. सो दिस इज एन इंडिकेशन, गेटिंग इट, वाई इट इज नियर आवर क्लास और वाई इट इज नियर द रोड, बिकॉज यू सी एक बार आपका मोबाइल छीन लिया, अंदर कट लेके कहाँ भाग गया किसी को पता नहीं चलेगा. फाइन. प्रशांत, the one who used to sit at reception and one who handles the mail, उसका तो ऑटो में से नया 1+7, he was looking at the auto, बाइक आई, ऑटो में से उसका मोबाइल छीना और भाग गए. Right? Yesterday a student was waiting for Uber and talking to house, तो एक बाइक आई और उसका मोबाइल छीन के भाग गए. So this is very dangerous here. So this is what determines the quality of life. Quality of life may not be good in the developing nations. Why can I say the quality of life may not be good in the developing nations? Because can I say that is because in the developing nations the resource versus population ka balance is not well established. Resources are limited but the population is high. So there is a concept, if you look in the syllabus, the concept of overpopulation, right? But in certain countries like Brazil, Brazil is the 5th largest country in the world in the terms of area. Brazil is also the 5th largest country in the world in the terms of population. So we can say to take an example of Brazil, but Brazil itna bada hai that in spite of being dense 5th most populous country in the world, uske most of the people don't stay in this region. Or take an example of Kazakhstan, or the best example of Russia. Most of the people are in Russia are here. There is no one who is staying here in Russia, right? So can I say these are the countries in which population is not well distributed? Why population is not well distributed? Uska reason is because these are underpopulated countries, fine? Underpopulated countries, jahan pe the population is so less that optimum utilization of the resource is not possible. अब माल्थस ने कहा था कि पॉपुलेशन बढ़ेगा तो देयर विल बी फूड इनसिक्योरिटी एंड देयर विल बी डेथ एंड क्राइसिस. माल्थस थियरी इज सेड टू बी अ वेरी वेरी पेसिमिस्टिक थियरी बिकॉज ही सेड दैट child is born with a mouth, and he took an example कि there are people sitting in the dining room ready to eat food. An uninvited guest comes, and this uninvited guest, when it comes, he has no option but to starve. कि आप किसी के घर में जा रहे हो, वो लोग खाना खा रहे हैं, एंड आप बिना बताए गए तो आपको भूखा रहना पड़ेगा. इज इट ऑलवेज नेसेसरी? नहीं. घर में जितने लोग हैं उतने से एटलीस्ट कोई ना कोई खाना बनाएगा, आपको कुछ ना कुछ खाना देगा, शेयर करेगा. So there is the next theory, which is the theory of optimum population, which criticized Malthus, saying when the child is born in the world, he comes with the mouth, but you are forgetting he also comes with 2 hands. Understanding the philosophical meaning of the statement? When he comes with the 2 hands, means वो मेहनत कर सकता है, वो काम कर सकता है, he can utilize the resources and make the world a better place. So till the time we had Malthus and Marx, demographic transition model is a scientific explanation how the country will progress. But till the time we consider Malthus and Marx, we will always think population is bad. Fine? एक theory है which we are going to start with, and that is the theory of optimum population, which for the first time said the population is not bad. Population can be strength, population can be weakness. Population can be weakness if the overpopulation is there. Population can be strength if the concept of underpopulation is there. Fine? If the resources are limited and बहुत ज़्यादा population है, then only the population can be weakness. Understanding? That is the concept of over, under and optimum population. But before we go, let us look at the social capital. Social capital in the developing countries is dormant and diffused. What do you mean by dormant and diffused? The trust, the level of understanding, the mutual trust between the people hai, but it is in the dormant state, soya hua hai, it is diffused. It gets activated during the national calamity or wars. Doklam issue aayega, to everyone remember we are Indians, fine? Or if there is any external war or natural conflicts, it will get activated. So in the developing countries, there is a dominance of rural areas and the urban areas. Fine. So look back into the handout. I am saying that social capital is more in the urban areas in the developing nations. So urban areas where there is a bitter mixture of ideas and therefore higher social capital, but it has to be supported with the help of infrastructure development. But in most of the rural areas, lack of physical infra, traditional nature, and absence of social capillarity hinders development. किसने दिया था concept of social capillarity? DuPont ने. Theory करनी ही नहीं है वो, right? बस ऐसे use करना है. This is not from any book. But see how I have used, instead of the वही same word rigid social structure, caste system, एक word से substitute कर दिया social capillarity. Last page, right? And what is important is Sendai framework and Hyogo framework. किसके लिए है this both framework? Disaster management. I have emphasized on reducing vulnerability by investing in the social capital. Right? So end में लिखो case study. Case study. Write it in your notes. जिसमें हमने सोशल कैपिटल लिखा है. Mostly in the developing nations, overall social capital is low. Overall social capital is low. Overall social capital is low. Hierarchical social orders. Hierarchical social orders. Orthodox mindsets. Orthodox mindsets. And resistance to new ideas, makes the social capital dormant and diffused. Makes the social capital dormant and diffused. Diffused का मीनिंग है, full stop के बाद लिखो, the social capital is concentrated in the groups social capital is concentrated in the groups generally expressed through bonds. Generally expressed through bonds. What is a bond? One type of social capital, generally expressed through bonds and sometimes through bridges. भाई भाई जात जात में बहुत ज़्यादा होगा social capital, थोड़ा बहुत colleagues में होगा, but there never will be linkages. Linkages is between social order. Yesterday's lecture, bonds and linkages. Next point. This social capital is seen only in the event of This social capital is seen only in the event of natural calamities, only in the event of natural calamities, while in rural India, it is seen in the terms of caste expressions. Caste expressions. Right? Not Jat Bhai, it is Jat Bhai. Any Jat can be brother, fine? Whether it is Brahmin, Brahmin, whether it is Jat, Jat, whether it is Punjabi, Punjabi, once you are there, you become brother. That is what is the social capital. In today's individualized society, social capital on an whole is on decline. Social capital on an whole has been on decline. Because the focus is on individual and mechanized development. Focus is on individual and mechanized development. But United Nations has emphasized on social capital through Yoga and Sendai frameworks. Through Yoga and Sendai framework, because high social capital reduces vulnerability, increases capacity building, and allows this community as a whole to face the disasters. Example, you must have heard this. Kudumbashri, a woman self-help group which belongs to which helps in the reducing the Kerala flood. Kudumbashri, agar nahi pata to Kudumbashri is a woman self-help group in Kerala. Belonging to poor communities, contributing 10 or 20 rupees, full stop. BC type ही है, kitty party type ही है, 10 or 20 rupees, but members are 42 lakh. Understanding? Members are 42 lakh. And if somebody requires money, 42 lakh rupees they get. Then they will set up a business, and after setting up a business, they will return it through profit, right? They have contributed during the Kerala floods, they contributed over 5 crores to CM Disaster Relief Fund, to CM Disaster Relief Fund, comma, helped in relocation and relief of the people, as well as in cleaning the region after floods. Working women from working class families, women from the lower middle class families and middle class, Muslim women, Dalit women, all are the part of, इसलिए ये बेस्ट एग्जाम्पल है सोशल कैपिटल का. एंड योगो फ्रेमवर्क एंड सेंडाई फ्रेमवर्क में इसी का एग्जाम्पल लेने के बाद यूनाइटेड नेशंस ने कहा कि इट शुड बी अ पार्ट ऑफ डिजास्टर रिलीफ ऑपरेशंस. फाइन. किसमें? कुदुमश्री नहीं. कुछ नहीं है उनके पेज पे, तो कुछ नहीं है. Self help group is known as Kudumshri in their language, therefore it is Kudumshri. This may be something different, I don't know. छोड़ो, आपने करना नहीं है इसका. Maybe he had a role to play in establishing this self-help group. Right? So this is the power of decentralization, local self-government. You can use this case study even in GS, Kudumshri. Self-help group में help और micro credit में help या social linkages में help, anything. Right? Can you tell me what are the, बहुत ही superficially, what are the problems of overpopulation? Just put yourself in India. Overpopulation. What are the problems? Resources scarcity. Then, कैसे? Pollution. Then, crime, then housing, education, poverty, education, or what are the problems of overpopulation? Employment, food crisis and energy crisis, disaster vulnerability, etc. Social divide, etc. Fine. Answer is very simple. आपके syllabus में है ये. Can you write the answer? सिर्फ एक काम करो, इसमें से वही उठाओ जो आपके optional से match कर रहा है. I don't want anything of GS in this. Now change the answer. Open your optional का book, look at the syllabus and tell me how you are going to frame the answer. Just open the optional का syllabus. Geography के हिसाब से, but answer should be in geographical language. Answer should not be in GS का language. Look at section B of your answer syllabus, paper 1, section B. Yes. Fine. So housing के बदले आप क्या लिखोगे? Urban slums. Fine. रूरल अर्बन फ्रिंज है कि नहीं सिलेबस में, सेटलमेंट ज्योग्राफी में? रूरल अर्बन फ्रिंज इज देयर प्रॉब्लम ऑफ रूरल अर्बन फ्रिंज. यहाँ पे रूरल अर्बन फ्रिंज का प्रॉब्लम होगा. दैट इज द सम प्लेसेस विल बी नीदर अ सिटी लाइक विथ एमिनिटीज, नीदर विल बी द विलेजेस, देयर विल बी जस्ट अनप्लान्ड विलेजेस या विलेज सिटीज, सिटीज विच लुक लाइक विलेजेस. उसको हम कहेंगे रूरल अर्बन फ्रिंज, जहाँ पे क्राइम एक्सेट्रा ऑल विल बी देयर. Is there a word in your syllabus, social quality of life? So quality of life should come in the syllabus in your answer, एक heading में. And quality of life में फिर ये बताओ, what is education का problem, what is the health का problem, what is environment का problem, what is the poverty का problem, what is the social divide का problem. Fine. Is there something in your syllabus known as famine, economic geography में energy crisis, food crisis? Right? So that should be the next point. कुछ नहीं, answers यही है, same as it is. Headings should change. The language should look like more mature. ऐसा लगना चाहिए किसी research वाले ने answer लिखा है, not कोई GS वाले ने लिखा है. It should look like an optional का answer. Social quality of life, physical. नहीं तो क्या होगा? These are so easy topics that you will be able to write the answer. But पता ही नहीं चलेगा selection क्यों नहीं हो रहा है, क्यों मैं 250, 240 के आगे नहीं जा रहा हूँ. Why I am not landing in the range of 270, 280, fine. And you know selection के लिए the basic rule is this is the enough for IS, fine. चॉइस आपका है, अगर इसमें 450 नहीं ला सकते इसमें 310 लेके आओ. फाइन. इसमें दोनों में नहीं ला सकते तो इसमें 165 लेके आओ. बट दिस इज व्हाट इज, इफ यू ब्रेक डाउन, दैट इज जैसे हम डिटर्मिनिज्म में करते हैं, इफ वी ब्रेक डाउन द कंपोनेंट्स, व्हेन वी ब्रेक डाउन एनीथिंग, दिस इज व्हाट इज रिक्वायर्ड फॉर सिलेक्शन. 450 इजी, 400 है. You belong to optional paper 1, it is there in paper 3. Fine. 450 है. This is minimum. If you look at the average scores, GS3 में average scores of the people are around 119, 109 to 119. Problem देता है paper 2. It will either give you 70-80 marks या 100 marks. Have a minimum 100 marks होनी चाहिए paper 2 में. Geography optional students get 125 in paper 1, 125, 126 in paper 2. Ethics सबके लिए एक ही है. Nobody has an advantage in ethics. Fine. If you can cross here 150, it is easy. Or इसको 280 295 तक लेके जाओ, 300 305 तो you become top 5 top 10. Getting it? Remember, the strength of you will be different from the strength of anthropology optional वाला person. Anthropology optional के लिए this chart will become understanding. Maths optional के लिए this can be range is very high. You never know. It depends upon the difficulty of the paper. इसलिए तो engineering subjects नहीं. But if you write a normal paper, you will land up in the range of 270, 280, etc. Fine. So ऐसे break down करो and इसीलिए social quality of life index, physical quality of life index, the answers will be same, but if you write it as per your optional का topics, urban sprawl, demographic attributes, बताओ demographic attributes. Demographic attributes में क्या है? Literacy rate will be less. सिर्फ बार बार optional का syllabus पढ़ने के बाद भी ये answers लिख सकते हो आप, because this is so general that everyone knows what are the problem of overpopulation. Fine. Because you are in the most overpopulated country. Fine. How much is our population right now? Estimate say. Fine. As per the topic we are going, and second problem जो आता है वो optimum population. Now when I look at Majid sir's book, when I look at other books, fine, except for some foreign authors, optimum population बहुत ऊपर से दिया है. This is wrong concept. Optimum population is a theory. It is a theoretical concept. It is not a general concept. इसलिए when we write optimum population पे जो question आता है and we don't get marks, तो ये problem होता है. What is an optimal population? Optimal population is a concept, that is we are starting with a new concept. Optimum population is a concept in which the population and the resources are properly managed, or they are so balanced that there is highest productive growth of the country. Look at the keywords. This is humanities. This is not science कि एक दो keywords आगे पीछे चले गए. Population resource का balance किसके कैसे growth के लिए? Highest keyword है productive growth of the country. Means unlike Malthus or unlike the demographic transition model or unlike any other model of population growth, the theory of optimum population talks about economic growth of the country as per the population and resource. It came in the same time in 1790s, 80s, and then it was developed over the period of time in 1833, 1878 and 1910 by three different people belonging to the three different period, in which they were criticizing the Malthus. These are the people who are totally against Malthus. Malthus कहता था, जो मैंने story कही है, तो खाना लगा है टेबल पे, ज़्यादा लोग आ गए, तो जो ज़्यादा लोग है, they will have to starve. Optimum population says, ज़्यादा लोग आने दो, लोगों को हाथ है, वो अपना खाना खुद बना सकते हैं. Fine? So the optimum population says that population is a blessing till the time a tipping point is reached. उसके ऊपर if the population grows, then it becomes a curse, and that tipping point is the point of optimum population. So country should never be underpopulated, the country should never be overpopulated, the country should have proper optimum population. Can you tell me a country in the world which has optimum population? I'll tell you an example. As per this theory, the population, optimum population of India, so that resources etc. can be balanced of India, is this should be our population. फिर कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा इंडिया में. 233 million. There is no country in the world in which there will be optimum population, because a theory है. This is another example of quantitative revolution in geography or theory building in geography, which are based on assumptions, and these are never nearer to the reality. So हम ये theory क्यों पढ़ रहे हैं? Why it is mentioned in your syllabus? Because this is for the first time a theory said that कोई population बुरा नहीं होता. Population depend करता है what is your level of technology, what is the age group of population, what is their skills, how much resources you have, and how you utilize these resources to take the country forward. मतलब the optimum population का theory is related to the origin of the concept of demographic dividend. Fine. though it never used the word demographic dividend, but it is a theory that is associated with the concept of demographic dividend. What is this? Underpopulation. This is total population and GDP per capita. If it is underpopulation, GDP per capita is less. Population increases, output increases, production increases, it reaches here. This point becomes the optimum population. But once it reaches and still the population increases, then the resources are less. And therefore, with the further increase in the population, कम है population, population ज़्यादा है. With the further increase in the population, capita, GDP per capita starts falling downwards. Getting it? This is what is the concept of optimum population. Clear? Underpopulation, optimum population, overpopulation. Overpopulation you already know. There are certain concepts. अब कैसा है हमारे सिलेबस में? हमारे सिलेबस में एक लाइन दी है, the concept of over, under and optimum population. But in reality, how the breaking the syllabus is theory of optimum population, concept of optimum population, and then problems of over and under population. ऐसा है वो syllabus. इतना बड़ा लिखना चाहिए था, but they gave it in one line. That is the concepts of over, under and optimum population. Yes. इसलिए Vatican City में they try to maintain the optimum population. What is the maximum population of Vatican City? 999. They never allow the population to cross 1000. Fine. 999. They try to maintain the optimum population. But obviously ये सिर्फ Vatican City में हो सकता है, not in any other country, because बाकी के country में there is a natural increase of the population, means by birth. Vatican City में who stays? Popes. They don't marry, so there is no natural increase. So अगर Pope ज़्यादा हो गए, transfer them to some other country. Fine. This cannot be done with this thing. अब citizenship amendment bill, can you apply to this theory? हम कहाँ पे आ जाएंगे? We are already here. And if we allow still more people to come, whether they belong to any religion, they belong to any caste, fine, will fall here. We are not in this category कि हमें यहाँ पे population लेके जाना है. Germany is in this category. Japan is in this category. USA can be in this category, so they allow the migration. Fine. But already हमारे पास खाना कम है और हम दुनिया को बोल रहे हैं आओ मैं दावत दे रहा हूँ. Fine. Understanding? I am throwing a feast for you, but we खुद हमारे पास there is no food left. Understanding? So that is the concept of optimum population. So we will study it in the terms of who gave the concept, what is the concept, what are the indications of the concept, then optimum population and Malthus, and the criticisms of the concept and uska summary. But I guess you have got an idea कि it is this theory which gave the importance to population as strength, not always the population is weakness. Inaugurated it. So this can be one part, that is the discussion regarding the optimum population and the Malthusian theory. But Malthusian theory is like limits to growth theory. The followers of limits to growth theory are known as neo-Malthusians. Why they are known as neo-Malthusians? Because just like Malthus, they were pessimist. Getting it? Just like Malthus कि population बढ़ेगा तो agriculture का food नहीं रहेगा. He forgot कि agriculture के अलावा there is resource, there is industry. Fine, we can do anything. In fact, if the population increases, then more hands will be there in agriculture and there will be more food also can be produced. Getting it? The reason is Malthus was priest and Cannon, who gave this theory, was economist. So obviously the field differences, both of them knew. So the theory of optimum population, the idea of optimum, first definition. Population quantitatively can be classified as under population, overpopulation and optimum population. Overpopulation and optimum population. The concept of optimum population, is an economic concept, which means, you can write this. मैं इसलिए ये दे रहा हूँ क्योंकि there is no proper definition of an optimum population, which means the best and the most desirable size of the country's population. Which means the best and the most desirable size of the country's population. So that maximum production, so that the maximum production and highest standard of living is achieved. Highest standard of living is achieved. Highest standard of living is achieved. Read what I have made you write. कौन सा concept है ये? Economic concept. Why economic concept? Because it is dealing with the production. Next. Initial concept was given by, the initial concept of optimum population was given by Carl Winkelblich. When he classified the population into underpopulation, overpopulation and optimum population. overpopulation, underpopulation and optimum population. ये उसने डायग्राम दिया था, you can draw this diagram. Can I continue? According to him, optimum population is the population in which there is best productivity of a country. Productivity of the country. Best productivity of a country. The concept was popularized by, the theory was developed and popularized by Cannon, Robbins and Carr, Saunders. हर एक ने अलग अलग पीरियड में. सो इन द एग्जाम रिमेंबर कार्ल विंकेलबर्ग एंड रिमेंबर कनन. बाकी का चॉइस इज योर्स. पहली प्रॉपर थियरी दी थी कनन ने, फाइन. रॉबिन्स ने 50 साल बाद उसको और डेवलप किया. कार्ल ने रॉबिन्स के 30 साल बाद उसको और डेवलप किया. सो इट वाज पॉपुलराइज्ड बट द थियरी वाज गिवन बाय कनन, फाइन. इसलिए इन द इंटरनेट व्हेन आई शोड यू इट इज द नेम विल कम ऑफ कनन, नॉट ऑफ रॉबिन्स एंड कार्ल. Fine. Next. He defined the optimum population as a population कनन हम रॉबिन्स को लिखेंगे ही नहीं. कनन defined optimum population as a population which combines with the other available resources which combines with the other available resources or the means of production of a country to yield maximum returns. Yield maximum returns. And now you can draw this diagram. Done? Unlike the Malthusian theory, in which population is considered as a curse, in which the population is considered as a curse. This theory is more realistic. This theory is more realistic. Because it tries to reconcile. Positives and negatives of population growth. Tries to reconcile positives and negatives of population growth. देखो कौन से डायग्राम हम कहाँ डाल रहे हैं. अंडरस्टैंडिंग? इस पॉइंट से पहले यही डायग्राम आना चाहिए, बिकॉज यू आर गोइंग टू राइट positives and negatives of population growth. This is a negative. That is why this diagram should be above or just besides this point. Fine? ऐसा नहीं कि कोई भी डायग्राम कहीं बना लिया. Because again ये टॉपिक्स इतने इजी है, इसमें मार्क्स मिलते हैं सिर्फ प्रेजेंटेशन एंड जोग्राफिकल लैंग्वेज एंड केस स्टडीज का. Any GS person can write a short note right now on famine. How you write in geographical language will be important. Anyone can write on the changing patterns of the world trade, causes and consequences of migration, slums, problems of overpopulation, environmental problems of overpopulation. It is just the language, presentation, thinkers, which will distinguish your answers. नहीं तो मैं अगर डिक्टेट नहीं कर रहा था, मैं सिर्फ आपको माजिद हुसैन सर के बुक के जेरोक्स दे देता. ये सब कंसेप्ट्स है, पर वही मार्क्स नहीं आते. गेटिंग इट? नेक्स्ट पॉइंट. ऑप्टिमम पॉपुलेशन थियरी. ऑप्टिमम पॉपुलेशन थियरी regards population increase as desirable. Regards population increase as desirable or up to a certain point, known as optimum point. Known as optimum point. This optimum point is characterized by draw the diagram. There is the highest level of per capita income, which results into highest productivity, which results into highest level of other economic indicators, and ये cyclical है. What are the other economic indicators? Level of education, standard of living, fine, housing, employment, ये है other economic indicators. एग्जाम में लिखने की जरूरत नहीं, बट and see, if anything comes regarding migration, if anything comes regarding, any question comes in this humanities का part, population settlement, paper 1, paper 2, balanced regional development, सब में ये terms use करो optimum population का, and try to link the paper as much as you can. Can I continue? The law of diminishing returns. The law of diminishing returns will operate only if population cross the optimum point. Only if population crosses the optimum point. That can be in the optimum point, fine. Thus this theory tries to explain, thus this theory explains that increase in the population causes expansion of natural resources, increase in the population causes expansion of natural resources, comma, increase in the per capita income, increase in the per capita income, and hence increase in the standard of living, increase in the standard of living. Increase in the standard of living. Next point, the assumption of this theory are, the assumptions of this theory are, assumption in this theory are, first, the natural resources, first, the natural resources over the given point of time, over the given point of time, over a given point of time, will change with time. Will change with time. You can directly write in the exam, natural resources goes on changing with the time. Malthus के लिए the natural resource was constant. Agriculture में हमेशा the production will be arithmetical, it will never be geometric. ये कहता है नहीं, it will change with the time. Second, modes of business organizations are constant. Modes of business organization are constant. Third, ये कैसे बिजनेस ऑपरेट होता है वो सालों से कांस्टेंट ही रहेगा. थर्ड, द रेशियो ऑफ वर्किंग पॉपुलेशन टू द टोटल पॉपुलेशन, द रेशियो ऑफ वर्किंग पॉपुलेशन टू टोटल पॉपुलेशन is constant even with the growth of population. Is constant even with the growth of population. Means this is what I want to say. ये कहता है कि dependency ratio will remain always constant. But what was the dependency ratio in 1969 in India? 80%. Means 80% were dependent only on 20% of the population. And what it is now? 49.8. Criticism है ये theory का. With the technology, with the change in the labor, you know what is dependency ratio? कल हमने देखा था working population to dependent population. कितने dependent population is based on the working population. Fine? Means as the population will increase, the hands to work will increase, people will increase, and therefore new resources can be found. Or agriculture production, actually this theory is a criticism of Malthus. So Malthus said increase in the population gives diminishing returns in the agriculture. ये कहते हैं no, increase in the population results into increase in the agriculture returns or industrial returns. Next assumption, the habits and the taste of the people do not change. The habits and the change of the taste of the people do not change. Working hours do not change. Working hours do not change. What has increased in India is this. India's old age dependency ratio was only 7. But has the life expectancy in India increased? Yes. So now 10% of dependents in the 65 plus category. Fine. So इसलिए ये Economic Times का article कह रहा है India needs to understand the savings for the retirement. So national pension scheme NPS system इसी समय आया है government का understanding, because more and more people are now living a higher life. 60 plus बहुत सारे लोग हैं. So government ने अब क्या किया है 2010 से pension बंद कर दिया है, right? Because now government knows कि yes people are going to live, so it has to pay the pension. कितना ज़्यादा burden होता government पे, so it has stopped the pension in the this thing. You have to save now, and obviously it is linked with economy being open, because government will give you XYZ return. If you can invest properly in stocks etc., your some portion of your salary, your returns can be more, your returns can be less. जब ये chances है तो हमेशा risk होगी. Next, the stock of the capital. Yes, next assumption. The stock of the capital and the techniques of the production remain same. The stock of the capital and the techniques of production remain same. इस theory का सबसे difficult part assumption ही है. So I am quickly revising the assumptions. See, except for natural resources, बाकी सब constant रहता है. According to him, natural resources will change, उनका utilization, बाकी technique, methods of production, that is the business का modes, or the capital, पैसे with the people, in relationship with the business, dependency ratio, or working people ratio, that is the participation ratio in the workforce, ये सब constant रहता है. And obviously our next 4 points of assumptions, the last 4 points are the criticisms of this theory. World is always oscillating, it is never constant, fine. So capital keeps on going up and down, dependency ratio keeps on going up and down, fine. अगर एक में कम होता है तो दूसरे में खुलता है. That is what the limits to growth theory is. A change in one part of the system affects the other part of the system, fine. So that is the criticism of the theory, nothing else. Next point, the theory is dynamic one, which takes into account the changing economic conditions, with change in the population, full stop. So ये जो point लिखा है मैंने उससे पहले होना चाहिए positives of the theory. So what we are going to write now, assumption के बाद is the positives of the theory. This was the first point of positives of the theory. Now why I am saying dynamic one is understanding what the assumptions we wrote 5 points, I guess, right? उसके बाद the point which we have written उससे पहले लिखो positives of the theory. It is a dynamic theory because it tells how the, so in the same point, right, this theory indirectly gives the concept of demographic dividend. This theory indirectly gives the concept of demographic dividend. Concept of demographic dividend. What is dividend? मुझे technical commerce background. What is dividend? It is the share of profit is dividend, fine. So it is nothing but profit. पूरा profit नहीं मिलेगा because you are not the owner, you will get a share of the profit. So when I said demographic dividend, demographic means population. So population ज़्यादा होने के कारण what profit we are getting is demographic dividend, fine. So when the demographic dividend will be high, if most of the people are in the working age population, that is from between 15 to 59 years. This is the working age population, and the maximum people are in the working age population, will say the country is having the demographic dividend. Clear? Understanding? Second concept. This theory is positive interpretation of population. This theory is the positive interpretation of population and removes or allays the fear of overpopulation caused by Malthusian theory. Caused by Malthusian theory. Next, the theory studies population problems. Theory studies population problems in relation to economic conditions. In relation to economic conditions. And the last, it has universal application. It has universal application and is a broad-based theory. Unlike Malthus, which applies only to agriculture. Only to agriculture. Applies only to agriculture. Criticisms. You tell me what are the criticisms of the theory. जो मैंने स्टार्टिंग में आपसे डिस्कशन किया है, क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ, स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग, मल्टी डायमेंशनल पॉवर्टी इंडेक्स, ये सब आज उसके कारण किया था बिकॉज आई वांट यू टू टेल मी द क्रिटिसिज्म्स ऑफ द थियरी. बस उन चीज़ों के लेके आओ. सोचो कि ये कंपलसरी क्वेश्चन है, आपको कुछ भी करके इस 20 मार्क का आंसर लिखना है, आंसर बनाना है वहाँ पे जगह पे. आपको पता है दैट ऑप्टिमम पॉपुलेशन इज द इकोनॉमिक थियरी ऑफ पॉपुलेशन. So, सबसे पहले is what is optimum population, define it properly. Give the numbers of the optimum population, because you will see the problem of this theory when we'll search a simple data the optimum population of India would be in the range of 56 million to 224 million. Itna deviation hai. 56 million. So, because nobody has told what is the concept of optimum population. So, can I say this theory is vague? Ye aayega first point. Second aayega, how do you measure the optimum population? What is exactly the measurement? Human Development Index you can measure. Literacy itni hai, per capita income itna hai, XYZ itna hai. Fine? But optimum population कैसे measure करोगे? Because natural resources क्या है? It keeps on changing with the time. See, till last year, methane was not considered as a natural resource, but now methane is considered as one of the biggest fuel. Coal-bedded methane, methane gas hydrates, fine, bioenergy. Because we have the technology, till sometimes hydrogen was not considered as a natural resource. Maybe a time will come in the future when nitrogen, 78% of the world is made up of, Earth's atmosphere is made up of nitrogen. If we have the technology, we may consider nitrogen as a natural resource. Fine. So the measurement problems hai iske saath. There are quantification ka problems. Second, ये किसके बारे में बात कर रहा है? This theory is talking about highest level of productivity, highest level of other economic indicators, highest level of per capita income. But what about 1980s के बाद world has changed a lot. It is not just on the basis of productivity. It is a concept of quality of life. Nobody defines it only in the terms of standard of living. There is a concept of happiness, there is a concept of satisfaction, there is a concept of the social indicators, and this theory mein what is absent is, if you really want optimum population, talk about longevity, talk about literacy rates, talk about the satisfaction levels of the people. मतलब the critics say that optimum population का concept should be widened to include the social indicators. Getting it? Third, it measures, it talks about per capita income. So per capita income, जब ये theory अगर आप net पे देखोगे तो लोगों ने कहा है कि per capita income is a vague concept. It is not a vague concept. आज वो जब criticism लिखे थे उस theory के वो तब लिखे थे. So per capita income cannot be measured. We now know that per capita income can be measured properly. But is the measurement right or wrong? Who knows? It depends upon the base year. Right? Secondly, per capita income is an average value which is often misleading. Fine. So geographical language should come. That means this theory does not talk about spatial distribution of the per capita income, of income, fine, or of economic growth. It talks about average value, but it does not mean that rise in the per capita income means the income is well distributed. So distributive justice, जो welfare geography and radical geography कह रहा था कि it should be well distributed, it is missing here. ये फिर से वही है. What? Deterministic, economic determinism. Getting it? It is more of an economic determinism. बस ये जो change in the language जो है, it is going to fetch you marks. Fine. Still, some positives है. It tells us about the population control in the way that yes, we should allow the population to rise. It talks about the power of population. It talks about the level of population which can have environmental, social and sustainable development. And इसलिए this idea of optimum population is now used in the concept of sustainable development. At least countries are trying to achieve. अगर आप imagine करो माल्थस सबसे ज़्यादा dominant theorist होता तो आप बच्चे पैदा ही नहीं होने देते. Human civilization would have ended because आप देखते oh this is one child means this is geometrical rate. Food production is now increasing by the arithmetic rate. मार दो इसको, otherwise I will die. Getting it? That is what is the survival instinct. So it is the theory, summary में, it is the theory which allows the policy planning in such a way that population and resource should be balanced. Getting it? So first criticism. Yes, yes, it is a quantitative analysis only. Only one factor is there, money. First, this theory is vague. Heading से ऐसे लिखना, vague. What is optimum population? What is optimum population? How to calculate? How to calculate? Is not answered by the theory. Is not answered by the theory. It is a quantitative theory. It is a quantitative theory. Which focuses on per capita income. Which focuses on per capita income. Focuses on per capita income, which often is misleading. Which often is misleading. Critics argue the scope of optimum population should include The scope of optimum population should include health, ideal family size, कहाँ पे कहाँ है इसने, कितना फैमिली होना चाहिए, आइडियल फैमिली साइज, well-being, the concept of well-being, quality of life, spiritual, cultural factors, etc. Spiritual, cultural factors, etc. Spiritual, cultural factors, etc. Next point. Neglects the distributional aspects. Neglects the distributional aspect. Distributional can also be written as spatial, over the space. Neglects the distributional aspect. It is not always that increase in the per capita income per capita income results into increase in the quality of life. Results into increase in the quality of life. In fact, recent examples after LPG, has shown that increased per capita income can be harmful if it is concentrated in few hands. Can be harmful if it is concentrated in few hands. Next criticism. The theory is static. Why static? 4 assumptions पढ़ना, सब same है. Fine. Technology will remain same, etc. The concept of optimum population is always oscillating, because resources, technology, culture, always oscillating. कभी ऊपर जाता है, कभी नीचे आता है. Resources, technology, culture, labor productivity keeps on changing. Labor productivity, habits keeps on changing. Habits keep on changing. This aspect has been neglected by the theory. This aspect has been neglected by the theory. In fact, summary, end. So क्या लिखोगे summary में? I will try to summarize this. उसने क्या positive किया ये लिखना. So the optimum population theory has given the linkages between population and resources. And gave the concept that both overpopulation and underpopulation are bad for growth. We won't study this in a typical manner. Points generate करेंगे. मैं theoretical concept दूंगा. बाकी आप पे छोड़ूंगा कैसे आंसर लिखना है. Fine. This answer should always be improved upon with examples. So, give me an example of overpopulated country. I am giving one example. China. Bangladesh. Pakistan. Nigeria. Indonesia. You said Uganda. Kenya, yes. Give me an example of underpopulated country. Japan is having dense population. Russia हो गया, New Zealand, USA. एरिया के हिसाब से पॉपुलेशन डेंसिटी. सेंट्रल एशिया के एंड ऑल सेंट्रल एशियन कंट्रीज. एक स्टेप आगे जाओ. अब आपके कंपटीशन से एक स्टेप आगे जाओ. चाइना. Where is India? India, China. And to some extent we can say Pakistan also. Technologically superior, resource wise superior, population wise very high. एक step आगे जाओ. How is the nature of our population देखना. Take an example. Bangladesh, Nigeria, Uganda, Nepal, Kenya, Somalia. Indonesia will come in India's group. high population but low technology and resources. Resources are always in terms of population. Resources is not कि आप वहाँ पे minerals है कि नहीं. Resources, whether that mineral is sufficient for the people or not. Understand the getting it? थोड़ा आगे जाना. So जब भी आंसर लिखोगे regarding the overpopulation, इसका अलग है होगा एक पैराग्राफ, इसका अलग होगा. और even if you don't know how the paragraphs will be different, at least ये start में बता दो कि oh this is bit scholarly, ऐसे लगेगा. Getting it? Russia, Canada, USA, high population, high technology, high resources, low population. Brazil, Kazakhstan, New Zealand will also come in the same technology. Fine. Low technology, low population. Fine. So always try to define your answer in the terms of population, resource. Population and resource regions. Okay, what is the level of resource, what is the level of technology, what is the level of this thing. Getting it? And then यहाँ के problems अलग होंगे. यहाँ पे problems होगा of migration. यहाँ पे problem होगा और illegal migration. There will be very high standard of living. There will be problem of environmental degradation even if this region is less populated. There will be the problem of crimes that will not be in countries like this. Fine? That will never be in the countries like Kazakhstan and Brazil. Kazakhstan and Brazil के problems are different from USA का problems, though both are underpopulated. यहाँ पे population is so less, technology is so less, but resources are very rich in Brazil. कि in spite of high levels of resources, the population and technology does not allow the resource to be exhausted or exploited. USA में resources are extremely exploited कि वो दूसरे देश में जाता है resource exploit करने के लिए. Getting it? So Arctic, Antarctic region भी इसी region में आएगा. Though we cannot say it in the terms of nationality, but there will be this thing. So there is only one technical terms here. बाकी का things of overpopulation, underpopulation is easy. So one technical term I want to give you is, though it is not mentioned in our syllabus, it should come in the exam answer. It is Ackermann's classification. Can I continue? No need of writing that. I am giving you कौन सी country किस में आएगी. Ackermann's classification. Ackermann, he was an economist. Ackermann classified the population resource regions. Population resource regions using three criterias, that is the population, factor. One criteria is the population, second is resource factor, third is technology factor. See, if we have technology and if we can give rainfall, or if we can build roads even in the hilly regions, then there are many regions in India which are not at all densely populated. You can shift the population there. So technology also is an important factor, right? What is the density of population in Arunachal Pradesh? 17 people per square kilometer, underpopulated. Andaman and Nicobar Islands, 46. Fine, Uttarakhand, 189. So, अगर हमारे पास टेक्नोलॉजी है तो चेंज इट. चलो जो अवेलेबल है, आई विल गो टू दैट ओनली. What is the density of population in Delhi? 12,000. Compare it with Arunachal Pradesh, 17. Obviously stress level इतने high होंगे. Getting it? Chandigarh, Pondicherry, Daman and Diu. But ये सारे we can understand. These are cities. यहाँ पे हमेशा density of the population will be there. Even this is kind of a city. Even this is kind of a city. Even in states, Bihar. उसके बाद West Bengal. Big states है ये. Kerala is a small state. UP is a very big state. Density of population is 829 people per square kilometer of an area. Yes. So understanding there are always three factors. How much is the population, how much is the resource, resource can be land, resource can be agriculture, and how much is the technology so that you can exploit the resource. Based on this, he classified the regions into A, technology source, or technology deficient. Technology source or technology deficient. So USA will come in what? Technology source. China will come in what? Technology source. New Zealand will come in technology deficient region. New Zealand is agricultural economy, totally. Australia is agricultural economy. Australia is not technologically superior. New Zealand is not technologically superior. वहाँ पे to some extent, it is not the source of technology. It is because they are English speaking nations, so US की technology उनको मिल जाती है, nothing else. How much is the population of New Zealand? Fine? Understanding? ठीक है, ऑस्ट्रेलिया की पॉपुलेशन. ऑस्ट्रेलिया इज बिगर देन इंडिया इन साइज. फाइन, फिर भी उसका पॉपुलेशन इज इक्वल टू दिल्ली का पॉपुलेशन. हरियाणा का पॉपुलेशन है. इट इज ग्रेटर देन द ऑस्ट्रेलिया का पॉपुलेशन. ब्राजील के पॉपुलेशन से ज्यादा है. ब्राजील इज द 5th मोस्ट पॉपुलस कंट्री इन द वर्ल्ड. फाइन, यूपी का पॉपुलेशन इज ग्रेटर देन ब्राजील का पॉपुलेशन. अंडरस्टैंडिंग व्हाई यूपी इज सो इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर एनी पॉलिटिकल. इफ यू वांट टू रूल दिल्ली, यू हैव टू रूल यूपी. उसके लिए चाहे राम मंदिर बनाओ, चाहे कोई मस्जिद गिराओ, चाहे कैब लाओ, चाहे कैब ना लाओ, यू टेक. तो पॉपुलेशन डेमोक्रेसी में ऑलवेज इट इज our is a representative democracy, so it is always तो फिर change करो या फिर give Arunachal Pradesh also 1 seat, UP also 1 seat. Yes. So no doubt crime factor सब इतना ज़्यादा high होगा. See Delhi का population, see the stress level. Population is always a stress. Humanistic geography कहता है everyone requires a space, personal space. There is no personal space in cities like Delhi. Tell me, can you read a private message in a metro without someone else peeping in your phone? Fine? ऐसे ऐसे देखना पड़ता है कोई मैसेज आए कि नहीं. So second is population potential to resource ratio. Means it is how much population is available to the resource to population का ratio. Fine? Based on this technological source या technological deficient and population to resource ratio, he divided the world into 5 categories. कभी कभी क्वेश्चन डायरेक्ट आता है, give Ackermann's classification of population to resource. If the question does not come directly, use it in introduction कि Ackermann had given it into 5 categories. जब डायरेक्ट आएगा then उन्हें इतना लंबा लिखना. What I am going to give you. USA type. So tell me, source or deficient? USA. Source. High population to resource ratio या low population to resource ratio? Original population, migrants का नहीं. Low population to resource ratio. इसीलिए उसको migrants लगते हैं. That is why New York, USA is sold as a dream. You come to USA and then it is a dream because it requires the best quality of migrants. H1B visa. Because it has low population to resource ratio. Getting it? USA type. So, technological source, and low population potential to resource ratio. Low population to resource ratio. Having इनके characteristics है, this is the most developed regions of the world. This is the most developed region of the world. Second, highest standard of living. Third, high level of technology. Very high level of technology. Fourth, has huge amount of immigration. And fifth, materialistic attitude has degraded the quality of life. Materialistic attitude has degraded the quality of life. Materialistic attitude has degraded the quality of life. Example, USA. Example, USA and southwestern Australia. Southwestern Australia. ऑस्ट्रेलिया, जहाँ सिडनी और सब है. साउथ ईस्टर्न ऑस्ट्रेलिया, साउथ ईस्टर्न ऑस्ट्रेलिया, साउथ ईस्टर्न ऑस्ट्रेलिया. आई एम सर्चिंग फॉर अ वर्ल्ड मैप, नहीं मिल रहा है मुझे. सेकंड, यूरोपियन टाइप. यूरोपियन टाइप क्या होगा? टेक्नोलॉजी सोर्स और टेक्नोलॉजी डेफिशिएंट. सोर्स, लो पॉपुलेशन या हाई पॉपुलेशन? यूरोपियन. यूरोप इज वेरी हाई पॉपुलेशन, राइट? इसलिए यूरोप की लाइफस्टाइल इज लाइक अस, लिटिल बिट ट्रेडिशनल. इटली एक्सेट्रा सेम अपने जैसे है, ट्रेडिशनल. गेटिंग इट? सिर्फ एक्स्ट्रा है हमारे यहाँ घूंघट सिस्टम है, वहाँ पे स्कार्फ सिस्टम है. गेटिंग इट? इटली में फीमेल्स एक्सेट्रा नॉट अलाउड टू वर्क. Very, very high population density. France, etc. Don't go by movies, what they show you. European society is not as open as American society. जहाँ जहाँ history and culture is strong, वो society हमेशा orthodox रहेगी. Movies में दिखाते हैं, they sell the idea, जिसको कहते हैं cultural globalization. They want American culture to come all over the world for economic reasons. So European type, high technology source, high population to resource ratio. High population to resource ratio. Characteristics, technologically advanced nations, but high population and limited physical resources. But have high population and limited physical resources. Second, अगर टाइम है तो ही लिखना. सेकेंड पॉइंट, इट इज नॉट फ्रॉम द बुक्स. इसीलिए याद रखना, दिस यूरोपियन टाइप ऑफ पॉपुलेशन स्टार्टेड एंगेजिंग इन colonialism. Why? Because they had high technology, they had high population, but they didn't have resources. These countries engaged in colonialism. In the recent times, these countries are experiencing decline in the population, promote and forcing the government to promote pro-natalist policies. क्या था क्वेश्चन लास्ट ईयर या इस साल? What are the countries experiencing pro-natalist policies and their impact on women? Pro-natalist means pro-birth policies. Natal means pro-birth policies. So I told you what are the pro-natalist policies of the government. Do it for Denmark. मैंने यहाँ पे भी दिया है. I'll share with you this on the next class. These are the pro-natalist policies. Example. See, as it is अपने crash course से question है ये. Fine. Population policies encouraging child growth. Do it for Denmark. Family holidays on weekdays. South Korea. Weekends में तो everyone has holidays, but South Korea gives family holidays on the weekdays. Wednesday is a family holiday only to the married couple. Getting it? Monetary rewards in Russia. Romania, no babies, more tax. More babies, less tax. Getting it? Tax break for the families. If you are having a child, next 2 साल आपको tax नहीं भरना है. Second child, 4 साल आपको tax नहीं भरना है. Germany. Tax break. Fine? These are the pro-natalist policies. इसमें tell me logically, थोड़ा सोचो, the position of the woman will decrease or increase? It is an advanced society. It is an advanced society where woman has a right to take her own decisions. It is not Indian society. कि pro-natalist policy तो husband can force a lady to give birth. Fine? It is a developed nation. हमेशा woman का position is going to increase in this. Decision making में woman is an part. Which country became the first country to have all female led government? Members, fine? I guess 37 years old? 34. मतलब मेरे से भी बहुत छोटी. Fine? 3 साल छोटी. So, my God. Underpopulation के फायदे. Getting it? Women take a part of in decision making. Getting it? Past year questions हम Monday को discuss करेंगे. Let us first finish this. Third, Brazilian type. Third, Brazilian type. क्या होगा? टेक्नोलॉजी सोर्स या टेक्नोलॉजी डेफिशिएंट? टेक्नोलॉजी डेफिशिएंट एंड लो पॉपुलेशन पोटेंशियल रिसोर्स रेशियो. Low population potential to resource ratio. These countries have not been able to exploit not been able to exploit the resources and are underdeveloped. Resources are underdeveloped. In the globalized economy, they face a setback due to lack of population, and high cost of manufacturing. कर नहीं पा रहे बिकॉज इतना पॉपुलेशन ही नहीं उनके पास. वो एक्चुअली इसमें लिखना नहीं चाहता हूँ, बट ऐसे कंट्रीज में क्या होगा, ऐसे कंट्रीज में हमेशा बाहर से एमएनसीज आके एक्सप्लॉइट करेगी अमेजॉन फॉरेस्ट. इट इज नॉट बाय द ब्राजीलियन पीपल. एमएनसी ने पैसे दिए ब्राजीलियन पीपल. सी एमएनसी कम्स टू इंडिया, हमारे ट्राइबल्स उसको बाहर निकालते हैं. दैट कैन नॉट बी डन इन ब्राजील. So such actually this countries face economic imperialism. याद रखना, whether it is South Africa, whether it is Brazil, whether it is Argentina, they are not having economic clout similar to India. Fine, they don't have that much importance in the similar to India. वो तो BRICS के कारण you started studying more about Brazil. Fine, but BRICS is what? Actually it is BCR. South Africa, sorry, ICR, India, China, Russia. South Africa and Brazil are fine. Indo-US nuclear deal में nobody is supporting India. Indian Prime Minister calls Brazilian Prime Minister. He takes a say नहीं, Latin American countries आपको ही support करेगी. He is initially against it. Fine. Second, Indian Prime Minister calls Obama, who was the George Bush, I guess, right? And then George Bush मेक्स रात को, ये पब्लिक भी हो गया है डॉक्यूमेंट, रात को 2 बजे कॉल करता है क्योंकि सुबह 6 बजे वोटिंग है इंडियन टाइम पे. ही कॉल्स राइट एट 2 o'clock टू ऑल द यूरोपियन हेड ऑफ द चीफ स्टेट्स एंड उसने क्या कहा होगा पता नहीं, बट जो भी अपोज कर रही थी कंट्री सबने वोट कर दिया. गेटिंग इट? बिकॉज यूएसए इज टेक्नोलॉजी प्लस हाई पोटेंशियल पॉपुलेशन. यूरोप इज प्रॉब्लम. सो यूरोपियन विल माइग्रेट टू वेयर? इमेजिन सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट बिल में हम ये कहते कि रिलीजियसली प्रोसिक्यूटेड रेफ्यूजीज ऑफ वेस्टर्न यूरोप एंड यूएसए, हंसती दुनिया हम पे. राइट, हम उनको रेफ्यूजी नहीं दे सकते. दे विल नेवर कम टू इंडिया, दे विल गो टू यूएसए. गेटिंग इट? देखो लॉजिकली देखो, समटाइम्स द गवर्नमेंट कैन बी राइट. व्हाई विल अ पर्सन इवन फ्रॉम इंडोनेशिया कम टू इंडिया, इवन इन आवर नेबरहुड? दे हैव अ बेटर अपॉर्चुनिटी समवेयर एल्स. इंडिया में कौन आने की कोशिश करेगा? हु इज वर्स देन अस? अफ्रीकन्स या आवर नेबरहुड? बट बिकॉज वी बिलोंग टू अ मिडल क्लास which is largest in India, we don't realize the problems at the ground level, but there are lot of problems. Fourth, China type. ये पुराना है, technologically deficient. See, even today we can say technologically deficient ही है. टेक्नोलॉजी का सोर्स नहीं है, टेक्नोलॉजी की कॉपी कैट है चाइना. टेक्नोलॉजिकली deficient and high population to resource ratio. High population to resource ratio. These are predominantly agricultural economies. Having poor technology. poor technology, comma, excessive population, unemployment, and social evils and other social evils. The countries are in South Asian countries, India भी इसमें ही आता है, South Asian countries, China, Egypt, and some West Asian countries. And last, Arctic type. Technology deficient. And low food resources. यहाँ पे population resource है ही नहीं, यहाँ पे food resource है. कौन है इसका example? Russia. These are non-acumen regions of Russia. Geographical thought लेके आया मैं. Acumen, livable area, non-acumen, non-livable area. These are the non-acumen regions of Siberia, Canada, Greenland, hot tropical deserts of the world. So ऐसा नहीं है कि आर्टिक मतलब सिर्फ पोलर रीजन्स पे, हॉट ट्रॉपिकल डेजर्ट्स ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, और कंट्रीज ऑफ नॉर्थ अफ्रीका, but with the change in the technology such and global warming, such resources can be explored. Fine. See, that is the end of our population geography. Such resources can be explored. I'll share with you tonight, this second part. इसमें पूरा settlement geography question answer format में. What are the environmental issues in rural settlement? We'll discuss this on Monday. Soft copy आज दूंगा. Remedial measures, urban morphology. Fine. And this topic which I discussed with you now. Problems of, थोड़ा मेरे को इसको change करना है. Overpopulation, problems of underpopulation. Fine. Remedial measures. Getting it? Population and climate change, what will be the impacts? Do these topics, very open-ended and very easy topics. अब आज कल में मतलब कभी भी टाइम मिलेगा, once we finish this topic, सोचो, खुद ही को पूछो, what is going to be your strength area? Section A, geomorphology, climatology, oceanography, और this section B. कल नहीं.